Hello, hello. What's up, guys? Can everyone hear me? And can you see the Bitcoin chart? Nice and clear, awesome. We'll wait like 5 more minutes and then so some people can join and then we'll get started. Hello, Bernd. What's up? Interesting times ahead of us, huh? Hello, August, ED, Bilal, Mikil, Dark. What's up, guys? Hello, Enro. So, you will be able to rewatch the stream after it's done. So, I guess we'll just get started. So, yeah, people who join late can rewatch it anyways. You will be able to ask questions, or we'll do some requests as well on altcoins. Some altcoins you guys want me to take a look at. So keep those for later in the stream. I'll first talk about some stuff I want to talk about myself, and then I'll say so when we do some requests. All right. So first things first, I want to say thanks to the sponsor of the live stream, which is Vela Exchange. Vela Exchange is an Arbitrum-based decentralized exchange where you can trade crypto perps as well as forex pairs and some metals. So the link is in the description, which you can use. If you use that link and make an account, try out Vela Exchange. You also get access to my Discord group. Okay, so send me a message. Just checking something. Yeah. So yeah, just send me a message if you signed up to Vela Exchange. They're also currently running a 25% off of fees you usually pay for the next 2 weeks. So it's a great time to check out Vela Exchange and test it out, since you currently only pay 75% of the fees instead of the full full amount. Okay, so with that being said, let's dive into the charts, right? Bitcoin. Where do we start? We'll start from last week, right? Where we were trading around this local range that we've been talking about here, right? Why these are lows and not this low? I've said it multiple times because these were the lows, the equal lows that were similar on all exchanges, while this low was this big liquidation wick that went lower on some exchanges than on others, right? After this wick, the markets came back in sync, right? And then we made these triple lows. And what confirms that this was a key level, the move below them, the sweep that led to all of this upside back towards the opposite side of the range, okay? The highs compared towards the other side of these lows were obviously these highs. Another reason why this high is this was the high, right? That slightly front ran the supply, the sideways price action here that led to this big dump, okay? So that was going to be our draw on liquidity after these lows being swept, okay? Our bias was bullish going into that until we swept this, okay? Then I expected some downside, but ultimately I thought we would retest higher. Possibly not before potentially retesting this mid-range, okay? That's also the reason why I tweeted. Let me look for the tweet actually. This one. Right? Wouldn't this be beautiful? That was all because of that. Simply a continuation range, sweep the lows, sweep the highs, retest range mean, and then send it a lot higher. And if you take a look at what happened, I mean, basically that's exactly what happened, okay? Even though George sounding like a true Belgian. Yeah, that's possible. Even though these analyses were, yeah, to be honest, spot on, I traded it like dog shit, you know. I was looking for a move like this from up here. So I was looking for longs way too early personally, so got stopped out and took some losses. I tweeted about it as well last week. But it happens, it's part of the game. That proves again that analyzing a chart is something completely different than actually trading the chart. And it's, yeah, it has to be said, because on Twitter it might seem like all those guys posting those charts are like money printing machines, but trust me, there's a big difference between actually trading them and simply drawing lines on the chart. And this is a great example of how I analyzed the chart pretty damn good and still fucked up the trading, okay? Anyways, we took some scalps over the weekend, some longs on some altcoins, Link, Tomo, what else was it? Can't remember. Oh yeah, AVEX, I think, which did well. And now I just entered the day trade on Bitcoin as well earlier this morning, which I'll talk about in a second, okay? But that's what basically happened on Bitcoin, right? This range now is played out, okay? We've taken the highs, we've taken the lows. We can't use this range from a liquidity standpoint anymore. And what I mean with that is, as I said, the highs have been taken, the lows have been taken, so there is no clean draw on liquidity. What we can use this range for is just as key pivots, okay? What I mean with key pivots is look for local sweeps of highs and lows into the levels of this range. And the first great example was actually this morning, right? We've got this range high level, which has proven to be pivotal, swept there, retest there, another sweep, retest there. Price then, after this fake announcement yesterday, just smashed to new highs, came all the way back down, good initial reaction, and then came a little lower again, sweeping local lows, as you can see, these lows into the key level that I just talked about, into this range high, which you can then use as a pivot. Okay, so that's the reason why I longed this morning. This was the setup, sweep into that key level. We could at least expect some kind of a bounce from this level, and that's what we got. Invalidation was based on the consolidation that led to the real pump here, right? Which was this one. This was the latest sideways price action before the announcement. Even though it's a fake announcement, right? It's still people accumulating longs there. So price came back down there, and we said invalidation is clear down there. Targets, right? These highs here, and then potentially some inefficiency up there. Already half out of this on the initial sweep here. I always take some off on the initial upside swing, or however you want to call it. So that's that. Okay. Now, with yesterday's scam announcement, we may call it, in my opinion, the markets are holding up pretty good compared to what actually happened, right? Like, you could say that fake announcement would lead to a lot more downside on Bitcoin, right? Because everything bullish was just thrown away, and it was false. But in my opinion, key levels towards the downside, for now at least, are holding. So in my opinion, as long as we hold above here, I see no reason to rush into shorts personally. Okay, if we break back below this level, right, and see weakness on the lower time frames, right, then I see reasons to short it back down towards this demand. And at that point, that would mean a break back within this range, right, which could, in my opinion, lead to a sweep of these lows and these lows all the way back into our range low level. Now, with that being said, if I quickly remove this range again and draw, this can go for now, draw our high time frame ranges, right, range levels from here, also some ranges we've been watching for ages since we're still trading within there. What's the draw on liquidity on the higher time frame, you could ask yourself. Well, we took liquidity below these lows, at least on some exchanges, took liquidity above here, but I feel like there's still quite some liquidity resting above here, right? Inefficiency all the way up here into like 38K, I'd say, okay? So that could be a nice high time frame target in case we sweep some lower local liquidity into demand first, okay? What I mean with that is, if you take a look at a weekly, right, you can immediately see this ain't looking too good, and the invalidation for bears is pretty clear, right? If you take a look at a monthly, we swept this monthly level here, right? Ugly sweep, downside, and on the weekly, you can see this weekly candle doesn't have a long wick to the downside. So in my opinion, we could be in for a revisit of that area. So somewhere around here, boom. Now, with that having in mind, on the higher time frames, we zoom in again on the lower time frames. Well, 12 hour, it's not that low of a time frame, but we already know, as for high time frame upside, we will need a break above this key level. This sweep confirmed that this was the level to break, in my opinion, right? Sweep into this high time frame range high level. Could also line it up with this range high level, right? But it doesn't matter exactly what level you take, it's more like of an area here, right? Swept that high into that area and got rejected pretty hard. So for bullish continuation towards the upside, we will need a weekly close above this area. If we do that, weekly close above here, right, in my opinion, we're on our way to 37k. As long as we don't reclaim this area, in my opinion, we stay range bound, okay? I'm not bearish, right? I'm more favoring upside, swing upside than swing downside. I personally don't think that we are going to see 12k, for example, right? I think it would make a lot more sense than to just stay in this stupid range for some more months, right? And do something like this. Maybe revisit 21. You'll be lucky if you get 20, in my opinion, but then back up, right? And then ultimately a break higher towards 40 and possibly 50 Ks, okay? The reason why I think that is because I think with the halving coming up, with the dollar, the look of the dollar, and with the look of the S&P, I think the worst part on Bitcoin, the worst downside is behind us, okay? Because you have the worst part as in downside on the price, but you also have the worst part in time, right? And the time, right, you have price capitulation and time capitulation, and often time capitulation can even be harder than price capitulation, because price capitulation can be very fast, but then it's done, you know, while price capitulation can take ages and ages and ages. So I think the worst part is behind us as in price capitulation, but could take a lot longer time-wise, okay? So with these weekly levels in mind, right, what can we plan on the lower time frames, right? Whereas local liquidity resting, well, as I said, I'm gonna take that range again. Boom. If you're looking for shorts, I would wait for either a break back within this range, right? A smash back below, and look for weakness on the lower time frames, a local sweep, look to short it and keep your invalidation at the highs at that point. I'm not sure how high we go here if we do this, if we smash below right now, but keep your invalidation above the highs, target this weekly low into this demand. If we break below here, close the daily below this area, right, then I think we see acceleration and continuation lower towards these lows and these lows, okay? So either wait for that or wait for a sweep of some highs here, right, and weakness back below. Then you could take an early short there with a validation around here, and the same plan back below. If you smash back below that range high level, right, trail your stops below the highs, right, maybe add on target there, and then below here it's off to these lows and those lows right there. If you're bullish, I would either wait for, as I said, on the higher time frames, a higher time frame close above this level. So a high time frame close above 30k, even a daily close, right, will signal strength in my opinion, and more than likely continuation towards at least 32k, right? Keep some as a runner in case we smash to new highs, but we will need a daily close at least above 30k in my opinion. Otherwise, what I would wait for is simply for price to retrace lower and look for strength, simply for a range play, level to level play, and play it like that, okay? So in my opinion, swing longs make sense above 30k. Swing shorts, I personally don't see it, right? I mean, if you count towards 25 as a swing short, sure, right? But swing shorts to like 12k, nah, I'm not seeing it. And apart from that, I'd play it level to level and wait for price to range a little, wait for price to build up liquidity to either side, wait for price to take either side of them, and then trade it towards the other side and take profit as soon as you got it. Right. Does that make sense? gentlemen, do you have any questions about Bitcoin? If you're enjoying the stream, feel free to leave a like. Helps me a lot. All clear? Awesome. So yeah, right now, this is the only thing I'm in right now. Long on Bitcoin, as I said from this key pivot here, simply a bounce play. And that's how you should play it, right? Look for areas where there's a high probability that we move into the other direction, where you have a clean invalidation and a clean target on liquidity. And that's exactly what you had here. Clean unswept highs there, which are next in my opinion. Invalidation, like I want to see this area hold right now. I'm allowing another sweep of these local lows. If we take a look at the real lower time frames, right? I could see something where we go for these lows, take liquidity below them, right? Reclaim, and then go for the highs. Then the draw would be towards here and towards here, with this low being taken. Invalidation, break below here, and something like this. Then I'll cut. I might even short. Do you have long-term spot holdings? Yes, for sure. Would you buy now? If I wouldn't have any spot exposure, I would, yes. But yeah, I'm someone who would like almost always have spot exposure. Since if you take a look at the high time frame Bitcoin chart, it makes a lot of sense to have spot exposure, right? So if I wouldn't have any, yes, I would definitely buy now. We're down like 70% from all-time highs, so. But I personally already bought more at 27k on this sweep, and then bought more at 17k down here on when we closed the daily above here on this daily close. I bought more spots. So yeah, my entry is pretty good. So I'm just holding that. Could you please check OG? And yes, we'll do after this. What's your thoughts on that fake news wick SF being a key weekly order block? Does that influence any bias you have? I mean, not really. It's the chart, right? You could see it as an anomaly, but nah. A lot of trading went on yesterday, obviously, since the size of this wick. So I think you've gotta just see it how it is, right, and consider it as a sweep of key liquidity into a key level, which is why I said I could definitely see some downside from here. But what I think is more likely is that we range. And also I wouldn't rush into shorts now just because we've swept that key high. Like if the real ETF announcement comes out, what do you think will happen? So the way I would play it is just focus on the charts, play it level to level, and look for swings at logical areas. Good points that week really messing up with bias. Looks so ugly. Yeah. I mean, it sucks that it happened, to be honest, but yeah, it's typical crypto, you know. Stuff like this. But it sucks. Messed a lot with the charts. But hey, if you caught it the week. 1 second. Right, I have 15 more minutes, so what else do you want me to take a look at? I'll talk about Link for a second. I was in this position yesterday. I'm already fully out, by the way. It was just like after the fake was announced, the news was announced as fake. I just entered this and closed at the lows. But initially I longed this. This was like Monday low or something, and we were holding Monday low. So I longed this and got a pretty nice trade towards the highs. But as you can see, the daily not looking that good. The weekly swept last week's high and almost no downside wick on the weekly, right? So I think we at least sweep that and do something like this, and then I could see a bounce again towards here. Or if we close below here, right, the daily or something, yeah, then I think we're on our way to these lows and potentially fill in all of this towards here. Okay. Let's do ETH. Yeah, ETH, same thing. Not looking that good, right? I mean, we swept this weekly low, but as you can see, this weekly swept last week's high. Last week's high. Last week's low. Right, low time frames, swept. As long as we stay below this area, yeah, it makes sense to go for last week's low and look for longs there. Yeah, this wouldn't be a bad thing, you know. Short something like this, target there. That's pretty decent. And then maybe from the sweep of last week's low, if it's a clean sweep, look to swing it back towards some highs. Right? Yeah, or we've got quite some lows down here. So it would also make sense. Yeah, clean demand resting there. So it would also make sense to do something like this, big wick, and then see major upsides. You agree? Only bullish if we reclaim this key level. This is the main key level in my opinion. Because that's also the level we just swept, right? Last week's high, boom, straight back below. If we manage to reclaim this on a daily or ideally weekly basis, I think we fill in, well, I mean, I think we sweep this into this supply at least, and potentially go even for the highs. But we'll need a break above there. Unfi. Yeah, this is not looking good. Yeah, probably at least towards the middle of this range. Yeah, I mean, swept all of these highs. I mean, this looks good for shorting, in my opinion. I think at least towards here next, as long as we stay below here. Reclaim this, then we have another plan. Then back towards the highs. But below there, as long as we stay below here, I think it's going lower. Inch, yeah, still same thing. I was expecting this. I was bullish on this because we had clean highs resting there, liquidity resting here, right, into untapped day. So did quite good, but we didn't sweep it yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if this sees higher in there and then comes back down and then goes. Sorry for the lows again. So it's a difficult one. Well, a difficult one. I'd be looking for strength on the lower time frames to trade it towards that liquidity, and then look for weakness on the high time frame to short it back down. Ave. And then we'll do OGN and curve, and then we'll hop off. Okay, this one, yeah, not looking good either, to be honest. I mean, everything looks bad, you know. See, all these coins now also have clean invalidation above the wicks from yesterday, you know. You just know if they are gonna revisit that area, that they have the potential to squeeze a lot higher. If they don't, they probably bleed down and accelerate lower. Also, clean liquidity resting lower on this one below here and here. Highs swept. As long as we stay below here, you could even say below the highs that got swept, we're going lower, in my opinion. Whew. Yeah, so it would be something, but yeah, I mean, shorting down here came down a lot already. See, not the best risk reward, so better ones out there. But yeah, maybe if we sweep this liquidity in here, right, and do something like this, then it looks better for longs, but for now I think lower. OGN. Looks okay, but not, yeah, low time frame. I think we might revisit. See this pivotal area, consolidation, then support, broke below, resistance, smashed above. So as long as we stay above there, right, low time frames, ugly sweep, might go for this liquidity again. So if it sweeps that into that area and reclaims, then that's a good long, in my opinion. Back towards all of these highs and potentially even new highs. Invalidation below there. This is one to keep an eye on for longs if it sweeps these lows in my opinion. Curve. The last one, let's see. Yeah, also ugly, you know. See, retest of resistance while sweeping all of these highs. As long as we don't revisit that, I think there's better ones out there, you know. Yeah, but far invalidation, and you know, with things like this, could see this squeeze all the way up there and then go for lower because of all of these highs here. Clean liquidity, but we just swept the lows as well, so maybe look for longs. If you do something like this, reclaim, right, then look for longs. For now I think lower, but I don't like shorting when you have something like this right above, because this can lead to a pretty proper squeeze. Okay, that's gonna be it for today. I need to go, unfortunately. We will do another live stream this week, okay? We didn't do one last week, so I'll do at least 2 this week, so stay tuned. I'll update you guys in the Discord and on Twitter as always. Thanks to Vela Exchange for sponsoring. 25% off of fees for everyone, so check it out using the link in the description. If you did, send me a message and I'll add you to my Discord group, okay? Big thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.